Amen. Good afternoon. So yesterday we have seen the quotation on Revue and Herald, July 5th, 1906. Who can tell me what it's about? So Catherine, can you please tell me what is the topic of our study? I remind you, please, don't speak too fast.
The San Francisco earthquake.
Okay, so our study is about the San Francisco earthquake. Okay, Sarah, yes. Do you have an idea? Can you add?
Earthquake?
What we are studying? Because there are some new faces.
We realized that she started this article in saying she was at the dedication of cemetery in Loma Linda when she got this vision, and she already spoke about the vision.
Okay, donc we talk about the earthquakes, San Francisco. We talk about the dedication of the sanatorium when she have a vision. So Hélène, can you please tell me where we get all this information?
We get it from the Review and Herald, July 5th, 1906.
Okay, which paragraph? How did we start? Aline?
With the first paragraph, and we get a lot of information out of it.
Can you please give us some information we gather together?
We saw that she was in Loma Linda.
Firstly, why do we read the first paragraph? What is the rule?
It's the introduction.
Introduction of what? To find what?
To find out the context.
To find the context? And
I don't remember.
Jim, why we read the first paragraph? To find the context, that is true.
Yeah, to find the theme.
To find the theme.
Mm-hmm.
So Hélène, you want to add something?
Did we find, I think we found the events that occurred that they're going to talk about in the...
We find the events that will occur, but how do we find these events? Because this is our methodology when we study a passage. So it's just a review. Tamina, how do we find the event? In the first paragraph, what did we do?
We say all the information is contained in the first paragraph.
Yes, all the information is contained on the first paragraph. And which word do we take? Everything is on the board. We pick up 3 words. Cathy? Point 1. By reading the first paragraph of Review and Herald, we pick up 3 words to find the context, the theme, and other things.
When? We read the first sentence and the last sentence of the paragraph.
Which word? My question is which word we pick up?
Ah, the word you picked up. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So everything is in the board. Where is Ellen White?
Loma Linda.
She's in Loma Linda.
Mm-hmm.
What she's doing to Loma Linda?
Dedication.
Okay. So we pick up Loma Linda, dedication, and also vision. Even though the word vision is not in the first paragraph, because she have during the night season some revelation, we said, and she's a prophet, we pick up the word vision. And when we pick up this word, we say when these things happen, because the first paragraph didn't give us all the context, all the history. We know that we use this quotation to establish 9/11 in our movement. And before going to the paragraph 13 and 14, we said we will do a detective work to know what's going on in this passage of Review and Herald, and to understand the context and the theme. And we pick up multiple themes: judgment, work in the city, and God's law. So Ellen White left her home in April 12, 1906, to go for 2 reasons. She's supposed to go to have the yearly South California conference, and also to do the dedication of the 2 sanatorium. And we find this information in this quotation. So Life Sketches 407.1. And we know, and after on the line, we put the different steps. So we said that she did the dedication on April 15. We find the information in Life Sketches 403, paragraph 1. And after, when we read the first paragraph, we saw that she have 2 visions. So we wanted to know what are these visions. And when we read through the paragraph, we see that she had a vision the second night when she's in Loma Linda, and the 17th, the third night, she was. This we didn't see, but I had this information. She's not in Loma Linda anymore. For the second vision, she's in Glendale, near Los Angeles. But the content of the vision is quite similar. Who can review? Who can explain what is the content of the vision, the first one? Do you remember? Suelen, do you remember?
Well, it was about Judgment Day and that God's forbearance was coming to an end, and it was going to have destruction, and that that angels were talking about the law of God and the Sabbath, and
Can you speak? Okay.
and that buildings were going to shake down, and there were going to be a great loss of life.
Okay, so the first vision, it's in the paragraph below. She just give more information regarding the title of this quotation, Review and Herald, July 5th, 1906. The title is The Judgment of God in the Cities. So what God gave her what will happen to the cities. Is judgment, if you want to summarize it. But the judgment arrives because of what? It's a relation of cause to effect. If God sent his judgment to the cities, it's because of what? Do you have an idea? If God sent his judgment, it's because of what? Because? Apostasy. Can you develop?
Judgments to punish apostasy.
Where? To whom?
To the world.
To the world. Because of what? What is the reason behind the apostasy? In this context?
In this context now? To be honest, I haven't been able to read the passages, so I don't know much.
We can maybe read it. Yes, we are still in Review and Herald. And she said that the reason why God is judging these cities, if you took the first vision, we will have the answers. So I will give you the paragraph. If we take the paragraph 2 of Review and Herald, if Ariane, can you please pick up some keywords in this paragraph that for you it's the cause of this judgment? Paragraph 2 is talking about the first vision. So the vision she received on April 16. The first one, okay? Can you see few words that relevant for you?
People that remain disloyal.
Yeah, but why is that disloyal? What the angel said to Ellen White?
That God's supreme rulership and the sacredness of His law must be revealed to those who persistently refuse to render obedience to the
So
King
what
of
is
Kings.
the cause of the judgment? Because what the people deny?
The law of God.
The law of God. So it's an issue of law of God. Who is God? And she said God is the supreme rulership. Okay? So one of these contents is that. And after when you read again and again, you will see it's an issue between the Sabbath, the people of God who keep the Sabbath. Don't forget we are in 1906. Okay? And after she said great sins, terrible sins, was revealed to her, and it was about building, shaking down, and the great loss of lives. Do you remember? We read that yesterday. Sarah, it's okay for you? What about the second vision now? Yeah. But it's in the board. It's a principle of God, usually. If He gives twice something, it's because He wants to reinforce a point. And what do you think? Which point He wants to reinforce? Yes, Tamina.
The vision about that God's people do not do their work in the cities as they should.
Yes, because it's about public evangelism, but it's not this point we pick up.
Mm-hmm.
The point we pick up is just an extension or repeat and enlarge of what you have said, Ariane. Aline, have you got an idea? So what is the content of the second vision? Yes, but if you understand the concept, God is repeating over and over the same thing. So if the first vision it's about the judgment day, is sacredness of the law, God rulership, what will be the second one?
The same.
The same. Even though we haven't read it, we know that God is repeating again and again the things. Can you just pick up a sentence for us? For recap?
Instructed regarding the holiness and binding claims of the Ten Commandments and the supremacy of God above all earthly rulers.
Thank you. So, and after when we have these four dates, we talk about the vision, Loma Linda, and after we said what's happened after. She's talking about the earthquake. We pick up the word earthquake, and we try to trace in the line why she's talking about the earthquake. And we find that in April 1896, so 3 days after the first vision, what's happened in San Francisco? So the earthquakes happen. And what did we say about the earthquake? Is its intensity? Was it a small one or a big one? How do you know? Good. Wikipedia, it's an excellent tool to get information, okay? So, and what do you find in Wikipedia?
0.5 to 8.5.
Okay, but when I went to Wikipedia, we have this mention to confirm the source. And when I check other website, I find 8.5 versus 9. The scale of Richard, l'échelle de Richard, pardon, thank you, it's 9. And the intensity of this earthquake was 8.5. So it was really a big one. And when I searched on Wikipedia also, I found it was the first earthquake in San Francisco. So when we said after the earthquake, what's happened, it's always fired. And there is fire during 2 days. So when we establish these things, we try to find if Ellen White talked about the earthquake. Yes, Tamina?
Give us
maybe an idea. The Lisbon Earthquake
Yeah.
was
In
the
which one? 1755?
Yeah, that one.
Mm.
The magnitude was 8.5 to 9.
Okay, so it's quite
So
the same
We
intensity.
could compare it, yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
we know how Ellen White talks about the Lisbon earthquake.
So tell us. Yeah, it's
It was greatly felt
Yeah.
in
yeah,
throughout
and he had the
locations in the
repercussion
world.
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know if he had the repercussion on the world, but I know that he made a lot of.
It's almost the same intensity.
Yeah,
So-
it's the same. I agree totally. So we say that okay, after the two visions, God warns them about his judgment, and the earthquake happened at 5 a.m. The next day, the April 18, and it was a warning. It was a warning for the people in San Francisco. But we say at the same time, don't forget, she left home to go also to the yearly conference in California. So this event, she already did the first dedication in Loma Linda in the 16th of April. After she went to Glendale, near to Los Angeles, to go after to this church where she's supposed to do a sermon. But this church, Carr Street Church, it's in Los Angeles, okay? It's in Los Angeles, and it's and she talked about it's linked with the yearly conference, and she talked about the work to be done in the big cities. So all the context of Review and Herald, July 5th, 1906, is regarding the public evangelism, the work to be done in the country, in link with medical missionary and gospel missionary. All the context is that. Because, and she also said that our institution should not be located in the country. Why? Any idea? Remember the theme of this passage. If our institution is far away of the cities, yeah. No, why should not be in the cities, the institution? Did I say countryside? Sorry. Because of the judgment of God. So think about that, because all this theme is during all this time period. You know that when we are talking about this time period, 1900, is it? 1900, I think. This? 1900 up to this date, most of the quotation you will read, it's in link with the work that have to be done by the church in the big city, in link with medical missionary and the gospel ministry. Because God's judgment will arrive soon. And we have to warn people. All the context is that. So when we arrive there, we said, okay, if Ellen White predicted the earthquake, because it's a big event. Kathy, I know you did some research. So yesterday, I told you she predicted 4 years before. So we said in April 18, the earthquake happened, and we look when she talked about it for the first time. And I point you to the date September 1st, 1902, because she speaks about the earthquake as a judgment of God, and she mentioned these 3 words, fire, flood, and earthquake, that you can find it in most of all the visions she had, of the main sermon she's preached. Okay? She always combined judgment of God with fire, flood, and earthquake. But for this one, for this one, for Review and Herald, July 1906, sometimes she doesn't say the three words. She mentioned only earthquakes in plural and flood. And I told you, because straight after the flood, straight after the earthquake, there is fire. So that's why I put it here, even though the fire missing. Okay? And I told you she predicted it 4 years before. But she never said San Francisco will suffer an earthquake. So
Is 411.2.
okay, so I will add it. And don't read the quotation, just summarize, tell us the main idea. Life sketches, you said?
Yes, 411.2.
411.2, yeah?
Okay, so there were rumors going around.
Alors, I stop you a moment. Do you know the date? Because I bring everybody, I bring you all in the year 1902 now. Now we are not in the year 1906. So can you please tell us where you are in the history? Have you got an idea?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It says Review and Herald, July 5th, 1906.
Oh, okay, so it's the same article. Okay, so yes, she linked Oakland and San Francisco by saying she compares them to Sodom and Gomorrah, and she says they will suffer fire and earthquakes. But nowhere we will find in the inspiration that she said in San Francisco this year there will be an earthquake. She always combined earthquake with Oakland or the large big cities. Okay? So when I say prediction, she predicted, I have to say she mentioned it, not prediction. So to avoid to have confusion on, if you want, yeah.
Just that there were rumors that she had predicted the San Francisco earthquake and fire, and she says this is not true. Very clearly.
Yeah.
She just said that earthquakes would come and floods would come, and we're not to go into the big cities.
Yes. So she always linked, put in relation earthquake, flood, and fire with big cities. Okay? So now, we didn't do it, but it will be good to know what are the sins in the big cities. Okay? We know she always tells us to get rid of the bad influences. Okay? But in this time period, what are the sins? Because New York it's a town who, I think at this time period also it was a rich cities, economically speaking. And she didn't want that our institution was in the city, for the mindset of the workers should not divert from their work, and they have the mindset of businessmen. Okay? And we know at this time period it was also all about the liquor, drunkenness and things like that. So we can, if we didn't do it, but we can have a nice picture, I think, of what is the context of the big cities in this time period. Okay, so this has been corrected. Okay, and now we said, but what going on here? Why she's talking about the New York? Okay, why is she talking about New York in this passage? It's like New York is coming. I have the French expression. I don't know if it means something to you. Her hair in a plate of soup. So have you got, I don't know how you do it, but it's like it's coming like that without a link. You understand? It's coming like that. You don't see the relationship. She talking about earthquakes, vision, judgment of God, and after she just talk about New York. Why? What is the connection? So how did we do the connection? Suelen, do you remember?
Connection between New York and San Francisco?
Yeah, if you can.
Well, she, there was another article that said that she predicted a tidal wave in New York, and she said she never said that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, that's kind of the linkage, is that she said she did not predict that San Francisco earthquake, and she didn't predict a tidal wave in New York.
Okay.
But the destruction was going to hit big cities.
Which, donc, I will repeat what you said. So she didn't say that New York will be will face a tidal wave, and she correcting her saying. So, if somebody wanna add another thought, how did we connect these thoughts with all this line? Sarah, have you got an idea? Do you remember how we do it? Catherine. We are there, present. Ellen White is there. She's at home, at St. Helena. She's at home. After the earthquake, she visited some churches, okay? And from May 2nd, she go back home, okay? And during most all the year, she said she stay home, and she's writing. So in July, she's at her home, and she talked about false rumor. And she insert this paragraph 14 about, that we use for 9/11, to prove 9/11. And how she does that? What is the connecting link? From here, we went, remember, she's looking backwards. So on the board, which date we didn't talk about? We talk of this one, the two visions, the dedication. She left home. The speaking of the earthquake and the judgment of God in the big city. What date is left? Cathy? 1903, August 9. August 9. Is it 3? August 3? Let me check. So which paragraph? 13, we are living, you are? Okay, I've got, we still in this quotation.
That's strange.
Look, we are in Review and Herald, July 5, 1906, and she mentioned in the paragraph 13, can you read it?
In live sketches it says August 3.
So there is a disparity. Which one which first?
I guess Review and Herald. But, no,
I will take Review and
maybe
Herald
correct.
because it's the original, I think.
Yeah.
Left sketches, it's a condensed, but Review and Herald have 38 paragraphs, and I think it's the original source. So we will stick on that because in the movement to prove our proof for 9/11, our first reference is this one. Even though usually you said live sketches, but we know that it's Review and Herald. Can you please read, Janice, the paragraph 13? Paragraph 13. It's only one.
Under date of August 9, 1903, I further wrote regarding this sensational report. How comes continue. How comes the word that I have declared that New York is to be swept away by a tidal wave? This I have never said.
Stop. So, how do you link, Janice? We are there in July 5th, 1906. How do you link this date with August 9, 1903? What is the connecting link? The tidal wave, okay? Can you add more details? If I have to ask you, but all the first 12 paragraphs, it's about earthquake, judgment, vision, okay? The public evangelism, about Oakland and San Francisco. Why she's talking now about New York? What's going on? And it's an article. We are in 1903. She's an article in 1903, 3 years before. Why she's talking about that? What's going on? Anyone? Yes, Hélène?
Well, she's talking about the shaking of buildings
Yes. And
in both places.
both places will have a shaking of buildings. Is in 1906 we have a shaking of building in New York.
No.
Catherine, you say no?
Not literally.
So how do you reconcile both dates? What's happened? What is the context of our study? We are talking about the God's judgment in big cities. So that means that there's something happened because of our prediction regarding fire, flood, and earthquake that leads somebody to say, Ellen White predict a big event in New York. But she said, it is a rumor, it's false. I never said that. So now we have to say, we have to find out what this guy is saying, this brother is saying. Who is he? So it was difficult for me to know, to find the information. So I will tell you to read it. Let's read. Alors, I will write it for you. It's a letter. It's a LT 104. 1902.1. So, in this paragraph, we will have the name of the elder. Who want to read? I remind you, it's a class. We said we will do it together. I don't want to do a sermon. It's not the target of this study. So I need your help because I don't know everything, and together we will build the study. So, I don't know.
4, is there one thing or is there a space in between the...
There is no space. LT 104.
When at LT 104, then it's written 1893.
Me, I've got 1902. Okay, so I will give you another one, but this one we don't have really this name. Evangelism 387, but the information I want, you don't have it. A phrase? Yes. I will. Yeah. Luther Warren, you have it? Attends, I will give you a phrase. I try to. It doesn't work. Also for me. Alors, yeah, it works. Attends. Warren. It's strange. Sorry about it. I try to... Yeah, you can find it online? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, can you read it? If you find it, Sarah, please.
Luther Warren, I have no special light that you should remain in New York City, You must look to the Lord to teach you your duty.
Only the first bit.
If that field in its pitiful and awfully sinful condition does not speak for itself, tell me, what place can you find that expresses its need?
Okay, so the name I want you to have is the name of the 12 MR, so I will write it down. Alors, 12 MR 98.1. The name I want you to see, she's connecting Elder Warren. She's connecting the event of Elder Warren with our passage regarding the false rumor. So that means that this elder is work in New York, supposed to do a public evangelism to call people from our sin to God. He did a bad job. He did a bad job by sending false information regarding Ellen White, her vision, and the mission of God. In fact, he was saying that he was not given the gospel in its purity. He was not working accordingly with the advice Ellen White received from God at the beginning of the work in New York. So he was saying a message that is wrong, a message that is frightening and terrifying for the people in New York. And he was destroying, in fact, by doing this false report, he was destroying the work of the third angel. This is all is it about. So by giving a message that is not in accordance to what God asked them, he was destroying the work. So this is how I see the connecting link. So he was giving a bad warning message regarding the end of the world. How do you understand it? Ariane. It's your last day, Ariane, so you have to participate.
Ariane.
Do you understand the connection or something missing to you? If something missing, tell, like that we will try to dig together. What? We are there in 1906. She was talking about God's judgment, who will be on the big cities. At the same time, this judgment, it's a warning, showing the end of the world, the final judgment. But before the final judgment, God gave special instruction to his people through Ellen White to do the work of public evangelism in these big cities, New York, San Francisco, Oakland. If you read the article, you will say, or if you put some article together, I give you plenty reference, you will see that she said, San Francisco received God's judgment because her cup was full in 1906. So the instruction was clear how to do public evangelism in big cities, and it was really the time, in this time period, 1903, to evangelize New York, because there is people who have a lot of money also who can sustain the cause of God, and people who should be saved. Because God wants, even though he will judge the world, his target is to save the world. Those who want to listen to his law. So this is also context of this quotation. But this elder Elder Warren, even though in 1901, Ellen White already speak to him, encourage him to do a big, because he was doing a good job in New York. She encouraged him, but from 1901 to 1903, in 1903, he lose track, he lose direction. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he connect the other events that happen in other cities before this date. I haven't checked everything, but before this date, there have also events happen. And maybe he said, okay, so in New York will be the same thing, because Ellen White lists 3 things, and he choose tidal wave. Don't forget that New York, it's like an island. It's surrounded by water, so for them it's maybe easy to have a tidal wave than an earthquake. I don't know, okay? But this is why he chose, and by doing that, he was hurting. He was doing some hurt to God's cause. So this is the only link I find in this relationship. Because Ellen White, 1903, this date, it's a connecting link with July 5th, 1906. If you read the paragraph 13, you will see she mentioned
Elder, because the letter we just wrote is from 1902.
Yeah. She wrote it in 1901. No, firstly, she wrote it in 1901 to encourage him to continue his good work in New York. Okay? After, she mentioned this letter in paragraph 3rd. Okay?
Why the letter here is from 1902.
She mentioned that if you read the context, she received. She was. I will show you the passage. She was writing to Kellogg's in 1903, and she said to Kellogg she received a bad report from New York, and in this bad report, this elder was doing something wrong about the public evangelism in New York. And she mentioned this letter. She didn't write directly to Elder Warren. If you read paragraph 14, she wrote to the people who was in charge, who was responsible to the work in New York. She doesn't address this letter directly to Elder Warren. She sends a letter to the boss. Do you understand?
Referred us to in 12 MR in 98 is a letter she sent directly to that elder in 1902. So I'm just stick at that letter.
The letter you have, what did it say?
Well, at least it's directed to that elder.
Yes, but what is the content? It said the letter you just read that he was in New York and she doesn't have any light regarding his health and things like that.
Yeah, I thought that's
Yeah,
what we
but
were
it's not the
about.
same thing. It's not the same thing. She's in communication. It's like you are in a communication with me regarding the work you have to do in Germany.
I thought that's your proof.
Okay, no, it's not my proof because we could not find the LT ones.
Yeah, but this is the LT one.
The one I was referring to was the one she takes the evangelism 387. Do you find it? Paragraph 4. and 3 and 4.
Okay, but it's kind of
So
the
it's
same
the
what
same.
she's saying in the Review and Herald, right?
No, it's not. It's the same content. The one I'm looking for, sorry, I have to find it. It's the one she wrote to Kellogg, setting the context. Okay? She's setting the context of the situation by saying, I will give you the reference, but just last night I received a letter because the reference is quite long. Last night I received a letter saying, she's a letter, what we are, where I direct you. It's a letter she wrote to Kellogg. We are in August 9, 1903. She's writing to Kellogg's. She asks him a lot of things. She's discussing with him. And after, in paragraph 9, she changed topic. And she said, oh, by the way, last night I received a report regarding the work the work on New York. And in this report, they tell me that New York will be destroyed by a tidal wave, and that Sister White had said so. But I never said such anything. So this is, for me, this is the original. She's writing to Kellogg about this elder. And she said, you know, some time ago, Elder Luther Warren go out some very startling notice regarding the destruction of New York. In the Review and Herald quotation, you don't have his name. But it's the same thing. She's relating the same thing. She doesn't write to, she's not writing to Elder Warren. She's relating the story to someone else, to his boss. Do you understand, Sarah? It's like you are in your office, okay? You're doing bad things.
From 1902.
So she's talking from boss to boss. She's not talking to the worker. She's talking to the boss of the worker. This is what this is what happened in New York. And she take back this letter and she insert it in July in the Review and Herald, July 5th, 1906. Tamina, are you with us or are you disconnected? Both. So how can you be both?
Can I say something?
Yes. Yes, because I'm talking too much. Okay.
No, you don't. I thought, I'm not sure what it means or anything. I just thought it was really interesting, the letter she writes with Kellogg about the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you find that?
It's letter 176 of 1903. I'm on the website.
100?
Letter 176, page, and year 1903. Its portions are published in Evangelism and Life Sketches.
Yes, but in evangelism you haven't got all the details. That's why we have to go to the original source. Yeah.
And then we went to the first paragraph.
Okay, go.
And I thought it's really interesting.
Is it in the context?
That's why I say I don't know what it means.
Let's do a digression because I know it's not really.
I just find it very interesting that Ellen White writes to Kellogg with the intentions that she has money problems.
Yeah.
She's out of money and she's asking Kellogg for money in 1903.
Yeah.
That is for me amazing. Because isn't he already in apostasy at that time?
The church is in apostasy.
I think even Kellogg is already in apostasy.
Yeah, Kellogg, yes, for
and
sure.
And she's asking money from him, and then she's basically telling about Elder Warren and all of New York.
I know for sure on 1906 when regarding the reading I have, she rebukes the church.
Mhm.
Okay, because they are not doing the work, especially in New York.
Mhm.
Okay, the church become lazy, and his mind is upon the business, not upon Lord works. So I know at this time period she's really rebukes the church, but after
I just find the money problem so interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarah, is it okay for you? Yeah. Janice, do you get it? Yes, but if you type last night I received a letter saying, you will find it. Okay, so just to tell you that this letter, it's in link with New York and the works which have to be done in the big cities. Because the work, don't forget, the work which have to be done in the big cities is to hasten the return of God. This is all the context. And when God will come back, he will judge the cities. But the event before, fire, flood, earthquake, is just a warning to arouse the conscience of the people who live in the big cities. But she reminds them, even though I talk about the judgment of God, you should not give a wrong message. For New York, I received no light. For New York, I only receive the quotation we know. When God will touch the big building, they will overflow. Okay, so she's rectifying the mistakes. Okay? Do you have an idea or another idea why she connecting these things? Because this is the only thing I found. Kathy, do you have another thoughts or?
Yes, I just wanted to add about her giving warnings from the date, the date 1902 to 1903. There are 3 more dates of warnings written: April 9th, April 20th, and June 20th.
Alors, one second. April in 1902 or 3?
1903.
Okay, so April. Okay, and June?
And April 20th and June 20th.
June 20th. Where is that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and if you go down the quotation of Review and Herald, July 5th, at the end, you will find several dates between September 1902 until 1903, and she gives warning after warnings. Okay? So, is there any question, Aline?
It comes into my mind now.
Do you understand what we're doing, or it's confused?
A little bit confused.
Where do I lose you?
I'm not sure.
Because this quotation we use, why I really wanted to place the context of this quotation, it's because we use this quotation, okay, to establish our understanding of 9/11. So for me, it's important to understand the context, because to place after this quotation in its right place on the line, we should know what's going on first. What was the issue? Okay? So, Catherine, it's okay for you? Jim and Suelen? Yeah? Kathy, I know you did some research. Do you please give us some new light, and after we will try to go to review that and...
Well, I just did a little bit more on the earthquake itself.
Yes.
And over 3,000 people died. 80% of the city was destroyed. The fire burned for 3 days. 28,000 buildings were destroyed. 400,000 people were homeless. And at that time, it was $350 million in damage.
It's huge.
And interestingly, there were 3 previous earthquakes in the California that were leading up to the big one. 1864, 1898, and 1900.
Okay. So just 6 years before. And she said many times that it's a warning of the end is coming, the repetition of earthquake. We can find it in this quotation, 21st MR, 86.
Their Pacific Press building was in San Francisco, and it was greatly damaged, but no one was injured and no one died. But that, within repairing the building, they were quickly producing a special Signs of the Times, and it was an earthquake special. And they printed out the first time 150,000 copies, and by I forget the time frame. It was very quickly. I think within a year they had 1 million copies printed and given out, explaining with evangelism and the warnings of God. And then one person described the earthquake as a roar like 10,000 lions. It was so big.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just some things about how much travel she did, how many miles she traveled to.
The only thing I want you to tell you, when you trace this chronological line, we see that after the earthquake, she understands the earthquake happened in April 18, and 1 month after, she said she understood, she has an increase of knowledge regarding the 2 visions, 16 and 17, that God gave her. She said, Ellen White has the increase of knowledge of the vision received, and she, with this increase of knowledge, she was able to go to the past and also to go to the future. And this is our methodology of Isaiah 46:10. To understand an event, we have to go to the past to see what's happened, but at the same time, it's reveal you what will happen in the future. So when on May, she understand more better, we will say better, these 2 visions regarding the judgment of God. And she said that the warning, the gospel should be given in its purity, because it's a warning that the end is coming, and she repeat fire, flood, earthquake. But she point this time to the end of the world, to the judgment when God is coming. And this is this is also the context of paragraph 14. We should now be able to place this quotation in its right context by using the right methodology. So before, we ended yesterday by saying what was our old methodology to be able to place Review and Herald at 9/11. So, Aline, can you tell us, please?
Did what exactly?
How we place 9/11, how you place this quotation, paragraph 14, when the tower will fall down in 9/11. How we did it?
So yesterday you put New York 9/11 on the one side and Nashville on the other side, on the balance.
So what we're doing, you're comparing what and what?
The 2 events.
Which event?
The 9/11.
9/11 event, but and on Review and Herald, did she mention 9/11? What you comparing? What is the symbol you take to compare?
The symbol in Reuben Herald, July 5.
What symbol do you
Is
take?
it the fire?
The fire?
Fireballs
Fireballs for which event? For which town?
for Nashville.
For Nashville, but before comparing Nashville. But Nashville is what?
It's a city.
Yes, but what is that? Why you are talking about Nashville?
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about 9/11. Why you bring Nashville? Cathy, help her, please.
Okay, you made.
What was our methodology?
We saw an event, the two towers go down,
Okay, so this is Review and Herald. Okay,
and then we read about it in 9T, page 11,
okay,
and then we chiasm, we read something in Spirit of Prophecy, and now we're looking for the event.
okay. And this and
Nashville.
Nashville. So this is a methodology you used before. So now we took a witness in the Bible to see. We see the event, and after we read about it, it was the stars. But when the first messenger come with this understanding of Review and Herald, why we place it? What is the logic? Sarah, do you know?
I don't know what you want to hear.
This line, how do you explain it? We end on this part yesterday, and we will end on this part today, and because I'm out of time. So, Hélène, can you explain that? If not, I asked Tamina, because she's the one yesterday who explained very well. Do you want to wait? You will add to Swellen. Swellen, do you want to try?
Well, we have the angel coming down at
Which angel?
9/11. Huh?
Which angel?
You changed it?
Which
But it's
one?
Revelation 8, 1 through 3.
18. Okay.
Yeah, 18, 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that was supposed to happen. Then the latter rain was going to come after that.
Okay. So the angel descend
Yeah, so when we
with the
placed...
latter rain, and
And then the Sunday law was a closed door.
so Sunday law was a closed door for whom?
Well, for... I know it was we thought it was for the Levites.
At this time period, we don't know about Levi.
We didn't know about the Levites?
No.
Oh.
I will ask Tamina. Tamina,
Okay.
can you please re-explain and we will conclude?
Not sure how I did it last time.
It's you who did it yesterday.
We read a quote and we see symbology in the paragraph in Review and Herald or in testimonies or life sketches. Same quote. And we see symbols in there and we say this is 9/11 because the symbology fits. And so we're reading something and then we're applying it to an event and say this is the fulfillment of that paragraph. And this is what we did with 9/11, and essentially that is what FFA is doing with Nashville now.
Okay. So now we will try to understand where to place it, really, this rotation. So just to recap. So we try to know what's going on before Ellen White writing this quotation. Where is she and what's the event before? We noticed that she was in Loma Linda and she received two visions regarding the judgment of God, regarding God reminders that the Sabbath, his law is sacred, and the judgment will fall upon the wicked, and some building will shake down. So terrifying scenes. She had the vision twice, okay? And after the vision, the earthquake happened. And after we tried to understand why Ellen White had on this article this letter she wrote about the work, the false rumor about New York. We explained that it was in link with the work of the in this city, which is supposed to be done, and she wanted also to clarify what she received as information regarding New York, because all this event, all these judgments that fallen upon the big cities, it's just a warning, showing that the end is coming with fire, flood, and earthquake. And this warning, this judgment, pointed to the end of the world, the final judgment. So, if there are any thought or question, if not, we pray. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your kindness. We thank you that you lead us day by day in order we understand better your word. Please help us to be a good worker for you and to have your mindset in order to be a powerful tool in your hands to finish the work that have to be done before your return. In Jesus' name, amen.